Parallel questions, they're probably the most hated question type, period. They're the most time consuming, they're the lengthiest. You're reading the length of 6 stimuli for the benefit of maybe getting 1 point. So if it's a number 9, yeah, tackle it in the moment. Being a parallel doesn't automatically make it hard. If it's number 9, that means that although it's parallel, the method of reasoning probably is not too difficult. But if it's question 17 or 20 or 23, it's going to be a more difficult method of reasoning most likely as well. So it's okay to save them for last. It's okay to skip them or flag them and come back to them at the end. The digital LSAT has a really nice flagging tool that makes it easy to see what you flagged and come back to it at the end. And personally, I'll flag 3 or 4 questions in a single section, come back to them at the end, have a time bank of 3 to 5 minutes to knock those out. Now, you asked, how do you narrow them down? 2 major ways that I can think of. One of them is checking for the degree of certainty in the conclusion. Is it saying always or never or the majority of the time, like probably or probably not, or sometimes? You do want things to match there. You do want the degrees of certainty to match. If the stimulus says always and a choice says probably, that's not equivalent. You could eliminate it. Now, that's not the most advanced, groundbreaking thing to be doing, so they're not going to give you the correct answer for doing that. That's like a first pass test to maybe knock out 1 or 2 choices. The next thing I would be looking to do is matching the category of things discussed, looking for qualifiers. One type of qualifier is a quantity-related word, like saying all people versus most people, or all people who play basketball, or most people who take the LSAT, limiting the scope of the group that they're talking about. By qualifying in that way in the stimulus, you'd be looking for a particular answer choice to be doing the same thing and qualifying in a similar way. These sorts of tests are especially useful to do in cases where all 5 choices are on the same topic. In those cases, it can get really difficult to start comparing the choices to each other because everything starts to run together. It's much more useful to check each choice against the stimulus, looking to test it on whether it matches one of those particular things. Kind of like in a logic game, you want to do orientation questions by taking 1 rule at a time as your test to go through all 5 answer choices to check for compliance on that particular rule. With parallels, you're checking for compliance on degree of certainty or how they're qualifying things. Those are the biggest things to be looking for. Then there's also formal logic diagramming. Then there's also taking an abstract principle or a flaw, depending on the nature of the question.